The coffee spilled across Tara Morgan's pristine white blouse like a Rorschach test, blooming into an ugly brown stain right as she was preparing to give the most important presentation of her career. The cafe bustled with morning commuters, but to Tara, time slowed as she watched in horror as the liquid spread, ruining not just her shirt but potentially the deal she'd spent months working to secure. "No, no, no," she muttered, desperately grabbing napkins from the dispenser, her hands shaking. The meeting with potential investors was in 30 minutes, across town, and she had no change of clothes. As the CEO of Phoenix Technologies, she couldn't walk into that boardroom looking like this. First impressions meant everything, especially for a woman in tech who had to work twice as hard to be taken seriously. "Here, use these." A deep voice cut through her panic as a handful of clean napkins appeared in her line of vision. "Cold water, not hot, that'll set the stain." Tara looked up to meet the kindest pair of green eyes she'd ever seen. They belonged to a tall man in worn jeans and a faded plaid button-down. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing strong forearms, and a 5 o'clock shadow dusted his jaw despite it being only 8 a.m. "Thank you," she said, taking the napkins and pressing them against her blouse, "but I think it's a lost cause." "Dad, is the lady okay?" a small voice piped up. A little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, clutched the man's hand, wide-eyed with concern. She had the same green eyes as her father, her dark curls pulled into slightly lopsided pigtails. "She's going to be fine, Lily," the man assured his daughter before turning back to Tara. "I'm Ethan Evans. This is my daughter, Lily." "Tara Morgan," she replied automatically, still dabbing at her blouse. "And I'm definitely not going to be fine. I have an important meeting in 30 minutes that I can't miss, and I can't show up looking like this." Ethan glanced at his watch, an old timepiece that had seen better days, and seemed to make a quick decision. "My apartment is just around the corner. My sister's about your size, and she left some clothes last time she visited. You could borrow something?" Tara stared at him, weighing her options. Go to the meeting looking unprofessional and risk losing millions in investment, or follow a stranger to his apartment. Under normal circumstances, she'd never consider the latter, but desperation clouded her judgment. "I don't know," she began. "Dad's really nice," Lily offered earnestly. "He helps people all the time. He's a hero." That made Ethan chuckle, a warm sound that somehow eased Tara's anxiety. "I'm no hero, just a guy who tries to do the right thing." He pulled out his phone, opened his driver's license in his digital wallet, and showed it to her. "Look, I understand it sounds sketchy. You can take a photo of my ID, text it to someone, tell them exactly where you're going. My place is literally 2 blocks away." The gesture, surprisingly thoughtful, sealed the deal for Tara. "Okay," she nodded, quickly sending her assistant the information. "Lead the way." As promised, Ethan's apartment was just a short walk away. The building was old but clean, and Ethan apologized twice for the 4-flight walk up. When they entered the small apartment, Tara was struck by how homey it felt. It was modest, extremely modest, compared to her luxury condo, but immaculately clean and filled with evidence of a loving home. Children's artwork covered the refrigerator, and a corner of the living room had been transformed into a play area filled with second-hand toys and books. "Lily, can you get your coloring books while I help Miss Morgan?" Ethan asked, and the little girl nodded eagerly, skipping off to her room. "My sister's clothes are in here," he said, opening a small closet in the hallway. He pulled out a simple white button-down and a black blazer. "They might not be what you're used to, but they're clean and professional." "They're perfect," Tara said, genuinely grateful. She took the clothes and Ethan pointed her to the bathroom. The bathroom was tiny but spotlessly clean. As she changed, she caught glimpses of their life through the items scattered about. A child's princess toothbrush, a bottle of No Tears shampoo, a single men's razor. No women's products besides what his sister had left behind when she emerged. Ethan was in the kitchen, making Lily a sandwich. "I've called you a car," he said without looking up. "It should be here in 5 minutes. That should get you to your meeting on time. How did you?" Tara began. "You mentioned the meeting was across town. Figured a car would be faster than you trying to find a cab." He shrugged as if it were nothing, finally turning to look at her. Something flickered in his eyes' appreciation, perhaps, but it was gone so quickly Tara wondered if she'd imagined it. "You look nice," Lily declared from her seat at the small kitchen table. "Thank you," Tara smiled, then turned to Ethan. "And thank you, seriously, you saved me from complete embarrassment. Not many people would go out of their way like this." Ethan waved off her gratitude. "It's nothing, just the right thing to do." Tara reached into her purse. "Let me at least pay you for the clothes and the car." "No," Ethan said firmly, holding up a hand. "I don't want your money. But the car's on me, and the clothes were just sitting here. My sister won't miss them." Tara was unused to people refusing her money. As someone who'd worked her way up from nothing, she knew the value of $1 and how proud people could be. But there was nothing prideful in Ethan's refusal, just a genuine desire to help. "At least let me return the clothes," she said. Ethan hesitated, then grabbed a pen and jotted down his phone number on a piece of paper. "You can text me when you're free, no rush." "Thank you," Tara said, tucking the paper into her purse. Her phone buzzed with a notification. "That's my car. Good luck with your meeting," Ethan said. "Bye, lady," Lily waved enthusiastically. As Tara left the apartment, she felt a strange reluctance to leave. Something about the warmth of that small apartment, the genuine kindness of the man, and the innocence of his daughter had touched her in a way she hadn't experienced in years. The meeting went spectacularly. The investors were impressed with her presentation, and by the end of the day, Phoenix Technologies had secured the funding needed for their next major project. It should have been the only thing on Tara's mind, but as she sat in her corner office overlooking the city's skyline, her thoughts kept drifting back to Ethan and Lily. She pulled out the paper with Ethan's number and typed a quick text. "Meeting was a success. Thank you again for your help. When can I return your sister's clothes?" His response came a few minutes later. "Great to hear. No rush on the clothes. Whenever is convenient for you." Tara found herself smiling at her phone, a rare occurrence these days. "How about coffee this weekend? My treat, it's the least I can do." There was a longer pause before his reply. "That's kind of you, but you don't have to." "I want to," she typed back immediately. Another pause. "I have Lily with me on weekends." "She's welcome too. How about the park? There's a cafe near the playground at Westside Park. Sunday at 10. "Perfect." Tara set down her phone, wondering what had possessed her to suggest meeting up. She told herself it was just gratitude, but deep down, she knew there was something more. Something about Ethan Evans had intrigued her: his selflessness, his obvious devotion to his daughter, the quiet dignity with which he carried himself despite clearly struggling financially. For the first time in years, Tara found herself genuinely looking forward to the weekend. Sunday arrived with perfect weather, sunny, but not too hot. Tara arrived at the park early, nervously checking her appearance in her compact mirror. She deliberately dressed down in jeans and a casual top, not wanting to emphasize the obvious financial disparity between them. She spotted them before they saw her. Ethan was pushing Lily on a swing, the little girl's squeals of delight carrying across the playground. He was laughing, his face transformed by joy in a way it hadn't been the day they met. Tara felt a strange flutter in her chest at the sight. "Higher, Dad." "I want to touch the sky," Lily demanded. "Any higher and you will touch the sky, monkey," Ethan replied, giving the swing another gentle push. Tara approached slowly, not wanting to interrupt their moment, but Lily spotted her and waved excitedly. "Look, Dad, it's the coffee lady." Ethan turned, his smile softening when he saw Tara. "Hey there, coffee lady." Tara raised an eyebrow as she reached them. "Well, we met because of coffee, and Lily couldn't remember your name," Ethan explained, looking slightly embarrassed. "It's Tara," she reminded Lily, who was still swinging. "Tara," Lily repeated. "That's pretty." "Thank you, so is Lily." "Dad picked it. It was his mom's name," Lily informed her matter-of-factly, in that unfiltered way children have of sharing personal information. A shadow passed over Ethan's face but was quickly replaced by a smile. "The cafe is just over there," he said, pointing. "Lily, ready for a hot chocolate break?" "Yes." The little girl jumped off the swing mid-air, giving Tara a minor heart attack, but landed with the resilience only children possess. They walked to the cafe, Lily skipping between them, filling the silence with chatter about school, her friends, and a detailed explanation of why unicorns were definitely real but just very good at hiding. Over coffee, hot chocolate for Lily, Tara learned more about Ethan. He was a construction worker who'd been raising Lily alone since his wife left when Lily was just a baby. He worked long hours, but always arranged his schedule to be there for his daughter's important moments. His sister helped when she could, but she lived in another city and had her own family. "What about you?" he asked. "What was the big meeting that almost got derailed by coffee?" Tara hesitated. She usually kept her professional life separate from her personal one, and she hadn't mentioned her position as CEO. People treated her differently when they knew, either intimidated or trying to gain something. "I work in tech," she said vaguely. "Software development." Ethan looked impressed. "That must be interesting. I barely know how to use my phone." Lily giggled. "Dad's terrible with computers. My teacher says I'm better than him, and I'm only in kindergarten." "Hey, respect your elders," Ethan teased, ruffling her hair. The morning passed pleasantly, and when it was time to leave, Tara found herself reluctant to say goodbye. "I still have your sister's clothes," she remembered, pulling the neatly folded items from her bag. "Thanks," Ethan said, taking them. Their fingers brushed, and Tara felt that strange flutter again. "Maybe we could do this again sometime," she suggested before she could overthink it. Ethan looked surprised, then pleased. "I'd like that." "Me too," Lily chimed in. "You're nice and you smell pretty." That made both adults laugh, easing the moment of tension. They exchanged proper phone numbers this time, and Tara walked away feeling lighter than she had in years. Over the next few weeks, coffee dates turned into dinner at Ethan's small apartment. He'd refused Tara's invitation to her place, saying Lily would touch everything and break something expensive. Dinners turned into movie nights with Lily falling asleep between them on the couch. And somehow, without Tara quite realizing when it happened, Ethan and Lily became the most important people in her life. She still hadn't told Ethan about her position as CEO. At first, it was because she enjoyed being just Tara with him, not Miss Morgan, the intimidating boss. Later, it was because she feared it would change things between them. The financial gap was already apparent. She didn't want to widen it further, but as their relationship deepened, Tara knew she couldn't keep such a significant part of herself hidden. The opportunity to come clean presented itself unexpectedly one evening as they walked through the city after dinner, Lily skipping ahead of them. They passed a newsstand where Tara's face was on the cover of a business magazine, with the headline "Tech's Rising Star," how Tara Morgan turned Phoenix Technologies around. Ethan stopped so abruptly that Tara walked a few steps before realizing he wasn't beside her. She turned back to find him staring at the magazine, then at her, his expression unreadable. "Is that you?" he asked quietly. Tara's heart raced. "Yes, you're the CEO of Phoenix Technologies," she nodded, watching his face carefully for signs of what? Anger, betrayal. But all she saw was confusion. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, keeping his voice low so Lily wouldn't hear. "At first, because I didn't think it mattered," Tara said honestly. "Then because I was afraid it would change things between us. I like being just Tara with you, not the CEO everyone either fears or wants something from." Ethan was quiet for a long moment, and Tara's anxiety grew with each passing second. Finally, he spoke. "You know, when we first met, I thought you were some mid-level executive. The clothes, the way you carried yourself, I knew you were successful, but CEO..." He shook his head, not in disappointment but in disbelief. "Does it change things?" Tara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan looked at her then, really looked at her, and Tara felt exposed in a way she never had before. "It explains some things," he said finally. "The way you sometimes talk about work, how you're always checking that fancy phone, the fact that you never bat an eye when picking up the check." "I should have told you sooner," Tara admitted. "I'm sorry, Dad." "Tara, look at the puppy," Lily called from ahead, pointing at a dog being walked nearby. Ethan glanced at his daughter, then back at Tara. "We should talk about this more, but later. Lily doesn't need to hear." Tara nodded, a knot of fear in her stomach. Had she ruined everything? After they put Lily to bed at Ethan's apartment, they sat at his small kitchen table, mugs of tea between them. The silence stretched, neither quite knowing where to begin. "I feel like an idiot," Ethan finally said, staring into his mug. Why? Tara asked, surprised. All those times I cooked for you in my tiny kitchen, the second-hand furniture, the way I sometimes have to count change at the grocery store. He trailed off, his knuckles white around the mug. Ethan, none of that matters to me. It matters to me, he said firmly. I've been taking you to places I can barely afford, thinking I was treating you when you could probably buy the restaurant if you wanted to. That's not fair, Tara protested. I've never flaunted my wealth or made you feel less than. No, you haven't, he agreed. But you weren't honest either. Would you have treated me the same if you'd known from the beginning? Tara challenged. Or would you have been intimidated, thought we were too different? Because that's what usually happens. Ethan was quiet, considering her words. I don't know, he admitted finally. Maybe not. But we're not at the beginning anymore, Tara. We're months in, and I thought we were building something real. We are, Tara insisted, reaching for his hand across the table. To her relief, he didn't pull away. Everything between us has been real. My job doesn't change who I am when I'm with you and Lily. But it is part of who you are, Ethan pointed out. A big part. Yes, Tara acknowledged. Just like being a father is part of who you are. It's important, but it's not everything. Ethan sighed, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. I just don't want Lily to get used to things we can't provide. I don't want her expectations to change. I would never undermine your parenting, Tara promised. And for what it's worth, I think you're doing an amazing job with her. She's the kindest, most well-adjusted child I've ever met. That brought a small smile to Ethan's face. She is pretty great, isn't she? She's incredible, Tara agreed. And she takes after her dad. Their eyes met, and Tara saw the moment Ethan's resolve softened. He squeezed her hand. No more secrets. No more secrets, Tara promised, relief flooding through her. Good, because I have something to tell you too, Ethan said, his expression turning serious again. Tara's heart dropped. What is it? He began, then paused, looking uncomfortable. I can't stand sushi. I've been pretending to like it because you do. The unexpected confession startled a laugh out of Tara. That's your big secret, Ethan grinned, the tension between them finally breaking. It's a pretty big sacrifice. That stuff is disgusting. Well, in that case, no more sushi dates, Tara promised, laughing. As they cleaned up the kitchen together, Tara felt lighter, as if a weight she hadn't fully acknowledged had been lifted. There were still things to figure out, the practical aspects of their different lives, how they would navigate the future, but the foundation of honesty was now firmly in place. Later that night, as Tara was preparing to leave, Ethan pulled her into a hug at the door. Thank you, he murmured against her hair. For what? For seeing me, just me, not as some charity case or someone to fix, just as Ethan. Tara pulled back slightly to look at him. That goes both ways. Thank you for seeing me as just Tara. Their kiss was gentle, filled with newfound understanding and the promise of something deeper growing between them. The following months brought changes, some expected, some surprising. Tara found herself spending more time at Ethan's modest apartment than her luxury condo, drawn to the warmth and love that filled the small space. Lily began calling her Tara Bear after a stuffed bear Tara had given her, and the nickname filled Tara with a joy she hadn't known she was capable of feeling. Work remained demanding, but Tara found herself delegating more, leaving the office at reasonable hours to join Ethan and Lily for dinner. Her executive team noticed the change, commenting on how she seemed more balanced, less driven by work alone. Ethan, meanwhile, had started taking night classes in computer programming. When Tara asked if her job had influenced his decision, he'd been honest. Partly. But mostly it's because I want more for Lily, and for us. The us hadn't gone unnoticed by Tara. They were becoming a family gradually and naturally, without either of them having to force it. 6 months after the magazine revelation, Ethan received a job offer from a construction software company, entry-level but with room for growth, and significantly better pay than his construction work. He'd applied without telling Tara, determined to advance on his own merits. I'm so proud of you, she told him when he shared the news, her eyes shining. I couldn't have done it without your encouragement, Ethan admitted, but I didn't use your name or connections. This is all me. I never doubted it would be, Tara said, kissing him. With his new job came new confidence. Ethan no longer seemed uncomfortable when Tara paid for things or suggested activities that would have been out of his budget before. He understood now that her generosity wasn't charity, but simply a desire to share her life with him and Lily. The true test of their relationship came unexpectedly on a crisp fall day, almost a year after their first meeting. Tara had taken Lily shopping for school supplies while Ethan worked on a weekend project. They were in a crowded department store when Tara heard a familiar voice. Tara Morgan. She turned to see Richard Blackwell, a rival CEO and someone she'd once briefly dated years ago. He was looking at her with surprise, his eyes moving between her and Lily, who was holding her hand. "Richard, hello," Tara said politely. "I didn't know you had a daughter," he commented, his tone suggesting he found the idea amusing. Before Tara could correct him, Lily spoke up. "She's not my mom yet, but Dad says we have to be patient." Richard's eyebrows shot up and Tara felt a blush creeping up her neck. "Oh. And who's your dad, sweetheart?" "His name is Ethan, and he builds things and fixes computers now," Lily said proudly. Richard turned to Tara with an expression that was half amused, half condescending. "Slumming it, are we? I never pegged you as the type to go for the blue-collar hero fantasy." Tara felt her blood boil, but before she could respond, a little voice piped up again. "What's slumming?" Lily asked innocently. "It's a very rude word that grown-ups shouldn't say," Tara explained, squeezing Lily's hand reassuringly before turning back to Richard. "And you're right, you never did understand my type, which is why we didn't last beyond 3 dates. If you'll excuse us, we have shopping to finish." She turned to leave, but Richard caught her arm. "Seriously, Tara, you're the CEO of a major tech company. You could have anyone. Why waste your time with some construction worker with a kid in tow?" Tara gently but firmly removed his hand. "Because he sees me as a person, not a position or a potential business connection. Because his daughter has more integrity in her little finger than most adults I know. And because the only one slumming it here is me, having this conversation with you when I could be spending time with people I actually care about." She walked away, Lily's hand firmly in hers, leaving Richard standing speechless. Later, when they told Ethan about the encounter, Tara expected him to be upset about Richard's comments. Instead, he focused on something else entirely. "What did Lily mean, not my mom yet?" he asked, his eyes searching Tara's face. Lily, who was supposed to be getting ready for bed, answered from the hallway where she'd been eavesdropping. "You said we have to be patient, that good things take time. That's what you told Uncle Mike when he asked when you were going to ask Tara to marry you." Ethan's face turned crimson. "Lily Evans, you were supposed to be brushing your teeth, not listening to adult conversations." "But I already did," Lily protested, holding up her toothbrush as evidence. "Bed, now, we'll discuss eavesdropping tomorrow," Ethan said firmly. Once Lily had reluctantly disappeared into her room, Ethan turned to Tara with a mortified expression. "I'm so sorry, kids and their timing." But Tara was smiling. "Is it true, what you told your brother?" Ethan ran a hand through his hair, a gesture Tara had come to recognize as a sign of nervousness. "Yes, I've been thinking about it, about us, but I wanted to wait to make sure you were ready, that we were ready as a family." "And are we?" Tara asked softly. Ethan took her hands in his. "I think we are. I love you, Tara. I've loved you since that day in the park when you sat on the ground in designer jeans to play with Lily. When you didn't even blink at her spilling juice on your purse that probably cost more than my rent." "I love you too," Tara said, her heart so full she thought it might burst. "Both of you, you've given me something I never had with all my success, a sense of belonging, of home." Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, simple ring. "I've been carrying this around for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. Leave it to Lily to force my hand." He laughed softly, then grew serious. "Tara Morgan, will you marry me? Will you be part of our family officially?" Tears filled Tara's eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, absolutely yes." A small cheer erupted from Lily's room, followed by the sound of little feet padding down the hallway. Lily appeared, not even pretending to be sorry for eavesdropping this time, her face split into a wide grin. "Does this mean you'll be my mom for real?" she asked Tara. Tara knelt down to Lily's level. "If that's what you want, sweetie." Lily threw her arms around Tara's neck. I've been wishing for it since you helped me with my science project and didn't get mad when the volcano exploded too big." Over Lily's head, Tara met Ethan's eyes, seeing in them the same joy and certainty she felt. In that moment, she knew that all the success in the world couldn't compare to this, the love of a good man and his daughter, a family built not on obligation but on choice and genuine connection. They were married 6 months later in a small ceremony with Lily as their flower girl. Tara wore a simple white dress, Ethan wore a new suit, and Lily insisted on wearing a tiara because we're all royalty today. 2 years after that fateful coffee spill, Tara Morgan Evans sat in her office, a photo of her family on her desk, Ethan with his arm around her, Lily between them, and their newborn son, James, cradled in Tara's arms. The journey hadn't always been smooth, but every challenge had only strengthened their bond. That morning, Ethan had dropped by with coffee in a spill-proof mug, a running joke between them, and kissed her goodbye before heading to his own job, where he was now leading a team developing construction management software. "Still can't believe a coffee stain led to all this," he'd said, gesturing to her wedding ring. "Best spill of my life," Tara had replied with a smile. As she turned back to her work, Tara reflected on how one moment of embarrassment had led to the greatest happiness she'd ever known. Sometimes, it seemed, salvation came in the most unexpected forms, like a kind stranger with napkins and a willingness to help without expecting anything in return. And sometimes, the most powerful CEO could be brought to her knees by the simple love of a man who saw her not for what she had, but for who she was.